Hi. Before we continue, a warning. This video is going to be talking about sensitive topics, including manipulation and sexual assault. The names of the people in the story are going to be changed for privacy reasons. This is my story. And the reason I'm telling my story is because I'm doing it for a friend. It all started at a party. It was my first year of university. I always kind of kept myself. And it was not hard to make friends, but it was hard to initiate the friendship or even conversation. Even now, it's hard for me to kind of find the words to describe. But at the very end, I actually did manage to make some friends at university, mainly because it was easy when you have all the similar classes. This particular friend group took a liking to me because of just how honest and nice I was. I still am, but of course, we all grow. One of my friends would like to explain or use the example that I am like a caterpillar still in the cocoon. And sometimes it just takes a friend or two to take me out of my cocoon and become the social butterfly that I need to be. And that's what happened with my friend group at university. We got to know each other, we got to go out, we did everything a friend group would always do after classes, even before class. And of course, the friend group will always have other friends or acquaintances because even though it was a university, it was a very small university. It wasn't like full of buildings or anything. It was just one building for all the students. And because it was a small university, a lot of rumors get spread easily. Knowledge about people's what they do outside of school, work, friends, relationships. It's easy to kind of just find out about someone. I will admit at the time I am considered a late bloomer. And of course that word came out. And luckily for me, it wasn't a thing where I was bullied for. If anything, a lot of people thought it was cute. That's when a specific person came into my life. Her name, we won't give her a name out, of course, but she did had a nickname. She was a big fan of the TV show Friends. So everybody knew that, and they would call her Rachel. So that would be her nickname for the rest of the time that she was in the university. Rachel, you knew it didn't take long for you to find out that she was not a late bloomer. In fact, she was kind of like the promiscuous one of that entire school. The thing is, Rachel had a specific appetite when it comes to something like that. As she called it, she liked to go after the good boys and good girls because she was not adherent to social norms. Or I guess her sexuality was very open. And so as soon as the rumor came around that I was still a late bloomer, it, I guess it triggered for the lack of a better term, a predatorial mode on her. And because of that, she would talk to me a lot. Of course, she was a little bit flirtatious. Friendly, yes, and of course, she'll flirt every once in a while. I, of course, being the late bloomer that I am, don't really see the signals, or even if I did, I, I didn't think that someone like that would ever be interested in me. You know, it's when you're a late bloomer and you have anxiety and you're not really a social butterfly unless your friends are there to help you out. What makes you think that it's talking to someone like Rachel would be easy, or even take any hints from her? That all kind of changed the night I went to my first university party. Everyone was going, most of my friends were there, you know. And it's a typical university college, or if you know any college party at all, you know, it's a bunch of students drinking other substances and stuff like that. It's a typical party in college or university. I got there semi late, but even then, it's like no one gets there on time after all. And of course, I got there. I went straight to my friend group. We would talk. We would have our drinks, and I got lucky because I was the designated driver, so I didn't have to drink at all. So it was kind of funny just being the sober one and seeing everybody drink or spilling out their either their guts or their feelings. And then everything kind of changed. It almost like a tingling feeling on the back of my spine. I know where my eyes get covered by hands. Um, Obviously, I've already gotten to know Rachel a bit, so I already knew her voice. So when she came from behind me, covering my eyes, asking, "Guess who?" I already knew. I'm like, "Hey, Rachel, how you doing?" Without skipping a beat, she grabs my hand and pulls it, leading me towards one of the secluded areas. It wasn't necessarily a house. It was more like how can I say? It was a campsite, but it had like a built-in mobile home. We used it a lot for parties because it was technically abandoned, but because it was like a mobile home, no one really cared. And when she led me to the inside of the mobile home, and when I say mobile home, I don't mean like the ones on wheels. I'm talking about like those big, wide. So there was like rooms. And of course, it was filled with graffiti because it's an abandoned mobile home. And she leads me to one of the rooms and tells me that obviously she tells me that she finds out that I am a late bloomer. Of course, I'm beat red. What can I, you know, what am I gonna say? No. It's like it was pretty much an open secret at that point. I, I haven't told this story at all. I think maybe I told this story one person. My family's never found out about this, nor even a couple of my friend groups never did. This is the part where Rachel was telling me that she liked me and she wanted to do stuff with me. I, of course, was silent, blushing red, because it's like, Rachel was a a conventionally attractive person. Why would I say no, you know? But at the time, like I just knew like I'm a lot of people always say that I'm a giver, and that's always been my mentality. So I knew I was gonna be bad the first time. I I didn't know why Rachel. I, uh, I just didn't know why. And then she told me too. It's like, come on, let's do it, you and me. That way you won't have to hold that secret anymore. So shook, and I've been so nervous, and the amount of giver I am. I I told her no. In my head, I guess I just it's, it's like, how am I gonna like make sure she gets what she wants out of it when I know it's like I'm probably gonna be bad, and I didn't want that to pass around. I'd rather be the late bloomer than the bad lay, as they like to call it. But this is when I saw a different side of Rachel. After I told him no, I told her let's just get back to the party. She stood behind the door and told me, no, you're going to do this now. We are going to do this now. Confused and kind of speechless. I I didn't really understand. And also it's like, ha, this doesn't make any sense. Like, what do you mean? Like, I can't just out of will. And then she drops a bomb on me. She tells me, if you don't do it, I'm gonna run out and tell everybody that you try to rape me. Didn't know what to say. I was complete speechless. I felt like in that moment I just went mute. I can feel like the words that wanted to come out of my chest and my throat to and out of my mouth. But I couldn't think of anything. I couldn't say anything because I was in shock. I of course a lot of running thoughts were going through my head, and I figured like I thought she was joking, but I couldn't say nothing because I was just still in shock. And she kept telling me, it's like, if you don't do it, I'm gonna tell everybody you try to do it. I At the time I felt so ashamed because it's like you don't hear stories like that from this side. Obviously, you know. So she tells me to sit down and lay my back on the wall. Me being, well, it didn't took long. She had a way with She had her way to just get me to stand at attention, if you know what I mean. Of course, being a human, that instinct, just, of course, I could say it felt good. At the same time, it felt just completely wrong. And of course, it happened. It's just like I thought. Didn't even last a minute, maybe two. And of course, she got angry. She was upset. I remember the words. She was like, "At least I thought you would take the last 5 minutes." At this point, I'm speechless. I I just stayed silent with my head down. And as I was about to get up, she says, "Wait." And from her purse, she pulls out something. I didn't see it because I was facing her back while she was pulling it, going rummaging through her purse. And she tells me to keep waiting and close my eyes. I didn't understand why she wanted me to close my eyes. But of course, I did it because, like she said, if I don't listen to her, she's gonna go run out and tell everybody what I supposedly did. Especially now because we just did do it. And as I was keeping my eyes closed, she grabs my shoulders and tells me, "Come here." So as I was getting stand up, she pulls me aggressively and I slip, falling down to the floor. And she sits down on my back and keeps telling me, "If you don't do what I tell you, I will start to scream. And you know what's going to happen." And I started to feel her put liquid, something almost cold, all over my ass. I finally was able to find the words and tell him, "What are you doing?" She stands up, and I can hear her footsteps as she's telling me, "Well, since you got off, there's only other one way I can get off." Before I could even think about it, what she meant by that, she jumps down. I can hear her get on her knees and presses up against my back. And then, with her full force, she thrusts a strap on she had put on into me. The pain still remember now. The pain just shot up to my spine and even up to my neck. It knocked the wind out of me. I couldn't speak at all. And she was going fast. She was going hard. She was saying the same thing over and over again. Now it feels good. That's how I like it. I like it when they're good boys. I don't know how long time passed. It almost felt like it was hours. When she was done, she helped me get back up, cleaned me up. At that point, I don't even know what she could have done to me because at that point, I was gone. I couldn't say a word. I don't know if I was bleeding. In that moment, anything could have happened to me. I wouldn't care because I just didn't feel anything. It was like I was stuck in this void. I could hear people, but it felt like they were far. Everything felt like it was numb, like if you slept on your arm for too long. That's how I felt. I hated that feeling. And right before we left to head back to the friend group, she said the same thing. It was fun, right? You're not gonna go tell anybody, right? Because you had fun, right? After that, friends, of course, didn't notice anything wrong. Most of them were drunk, buzzed, or in their own little world. I drove all of them back home, and then I drove back home. I was able to keep myself to everything to myself. It lasted for a while. A lot of people didn't really notice anything because that's how they met me. Just a closed off person. I was still able to keep a face and talk to people, but they always kind of ask me, it's like, there's something on your mind? And I always lied. Said something about school, about homework, midterms. For a long time, that stuck to me. That feeling of being damaged. That feeling that I'm not good enough anymore. It affected me mentally in a way that I've never felt. It took a long time before I finally forgave her and was able to move on from that. There were attempts on my life because, like I said, I didn't feel like I was me. I didn't feel like I could fix me. But eventually, time healed all my wounds. Rachel never finished school. She left about a year after the incident. I never I don't know what happened to her. I don't know how they're doing. I don't know what they're up to. I kept it in the past. And like I said, for the longest time, I kept this story to myself. Not because I was ashamed of it or I felt that when it happened. I just felt truly that, for lack of a better term, I felt like I was okay now. I do forgive Rachel. And I do, most importantly, forgive myself. Because that was the one thing you always ask yourself, is it my fault? Did I do this? Could I have done something? Could I have trusted everyone to believe me, not her? I lost two virginities that night. But I can say today that I'm okay with that. I can't change the past, but I was able to heal from it. At the start, I said, I am doing this for my friend. And I know they're going to be listening to this. So I want you to know I love you. You're still the same to me. And you're not alone. And you never will be. I'm here for you.